This is Polykill, where two men, outnumbered by their games and at war with time, undertake the quest of defeating their lengthy backlogs. Please adjust your seat and prepare your ears for the banter of your hosts, Jake and Travis.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Polykill Podcast, episode 65. I am one of your hosts, Jake. You can find me on social media at the McAxel. That's Twitter and Instagram. With me, as always, is at Trav Plays Games. You can find him using that handle on Instagram and Twitter. And we have a very special guest today.
That is true. We do have a very special pair of guests today. Now, I have talked to one of these guests before on a podcast, and it was one of the highlights of the year because this guy he's into the spreadsheets, and I never thought I'd meet another man as into the spreadsheets as I was. And then, of course, we watched the pair of them on YouTube.
Right.
They do the pickup videos, and if people listen to this and they haven't guessed by now who this is with all these clues, they should know. Obviously, today we have the QDawgs. Thanks for joining us, QDawgs.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us.
No problemo. You guys are obviously affiliated with the Cartridge Club. That's how we came in contact with you. And then once we found you in the club, we found your YouTube channel and so forth. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the Cartridge Club and what your YouTube channel is all about.
Okay. Yeah, Melissa is nodding towards me, so I guess I'll start. We started our YouTube channel just kind of after watching or getting into watching retro video game people on YouTube for about a year.
Yeah.
We were watching people on there, kind of getting back into the hobby. I had always collected video games, but not quite to the same degree as once I discovered a thriving community on YouTube. So after we went to our first Portland Retro Gaming Expo in 2013, I said, you know what, let's throw up a pickup video. What we grabbed, we had seen people doing pickup videos. Let's throw one up there and see what happens and see if we can kind of, introduce ourselves to the online community and see where that takes us. And it was a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah. And we decided to do a few more videos and then more videos. And now we do a weekly vlog in the QDawg house, telling everybody what we've been doing and a little bit more about how we're interacting with the club.
Yeah.
They're all great. They're all things I absolutely look forward to, especially in the QDawg house. I really appreciate how it's kept precisely to a 5-minute video, which is why when Eric got on here and he said, I told the girls to be quiet for an hour, I knew the clock was ticking, and we have 1 hour for this podcast, Jake. We cannot veer. He'll just stop talking when it beeps.
Yeah.
That's right. You didn't see him put his timer on.
Yeah.
Timer's going.
Like I imagined it, to be honest. I imagined he just looked down, hit the screen on his phone, and was like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We would never cut you guys off after an hour.
Very appreciate it. Some other funny things before we get too far into the show. Some other funny things you guys have done. One of them was at our expense, which was a short Cartridge Club commercial, little ad slot that we hear featured in many Cartridge Club commercials, where you, and I want to say playfully, but who knows, playfully confuse us with our rival podcast, Masters of Unlocking. But I gotta say, it makes me laugh every single time I hear it, and I really I was flattered to have been the target of that.
I'm glad. I wasn't sure, and to be honest with you, Travis, that was intended to be a Polykill ad, but both of you and Masters of Unlocking kind of came along, and they quickly became two of my favorite podcasts. So I kind of wanted to do. I kind of wanted to mention those guys, but really that's supposed to be a Polykill ad, and I wanted to kind of have as much fun with it as you guys do with your stuff. So hopefully it was taken the right way. It was meant with love and admiration for Polykill.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It was certainly awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move along here to recent pickups and on the radar. This is the section where we talk about the games that we've picked up or games that we're looking forward to pick up. And I'm just going to go first here because...
You go first. You have the big one.
Oh, I'm so excited. And it's great that Eric's here on the show with us today because he understands what a white whale is like in the old collection. Right. And while this isn't quite, this isn't a Riddick Bow Boxing or whatever the last Sega Master System game is that you plugged in there. It's certainly a big one, and I had to pull the trigger. The price was right. And so this is a game, Earthbound. I don't know if I've said it yet, but Earthbound for the Super Nintendo. the price has been, I remember when I first started collecting games, which, I wasn't one of those people that were lucky enough to start collecting like while the console was still around when games were really cheap. I waited until my nostalgia hit, and along with everybody else, and I'm the reason the prices got big.
Way to go!
But the game when I first started collecting, I was like, $110 for a game? That's dumb. I'll never ever do it ever in my life. That's so stupid. I'll just steal it before I pay that much for it. Of course. Well, it got up near $200 for like years, from late 2012 to like 2016. This game was up around 200, 225. It was slowly closing in on 250. And I was like, well, window's shut.
Ship is sailed.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But I think maybe just like, I don't know if it's the Nintendo, the minis that came out and just emulation. The Raspberry Pi got huge, and the eShop and all this other stuff. I think the prices, maybe people are able to play it.
Yeah.
Which is not the same as collecting it. True. People who collect, we collect for three reasons technically: to have, to play, and to show off.
Correct.
And not having the cartridge does nothing for me. So I had to have the cartridge, and it dropped to still more than that 110 that I talked about years ago, but to a point to where I was like, I gotta snag it. So I snagged it, and I remember I was telling people that I bought the game that didn't care. Like, people that are kind of fringe gamers, I'd be like, dude, I got an Earthbound. They're like, good for you, buddy. Yeah. What is that? What is
Why should I care?
Why should I care? Like, is that a nursing home? Like, what is an Earthbound? It sounds like So anyway, I finally got it, so I'm excited about it if you can't tell.
Oh.
Looks good on the shelf, looks good in the Super Nintendo, plays good. It was a real copy.
Nice.
Which is sometimes not something you get when you get an Earthbound, so
fair.
Happy to have it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys pick up? Because Jake didn't pick up anything because he's not supposed to.
Not supposed to, so I have it.
And you guys went on a little trip, so tell us a little bit about the trip and what you came back with.
Hold up. Before we start, though, I may as well voice it here. I want to voice my support for Jake doing that. He traded one pre-order for another. Is that right?
He traded one pre-order for buying... now I can't remember the game.
That's totally legit.
Yeah.
That's totally legit in my mind.
I appreciate
So I'm on your side on that one, Jake.
Okay.
That's good. I
just wanted to voice that.
That's the ultimate seal of approval.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant I've been listening. I've been wanting to comment, but there wasn't a good point. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's good. Like,
so there you
no
go.
one else
I think that's totally fair.
Okay. No one else has commented.
So anyway,
for or against.
Huh?
So.
Yeah, I think Eric, he's got a list of rules bigger than the Kelly Blue Book for how to beat a video game. If he gives you the seal of approval for how you can buy your games, I think it's good, Jake. I go back on anything bad I said about it. I'm in full support. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, right.
You've really turned him around.
No,
Eric.
I know.
I'm convinced.
I was, yeah. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we were recently at the Midwest Gaming Classic, which is an expo held. It was held in Milwaukee. First time ever going there. A bunch of cartridge clubbers were there, and of course, we grabbed some games.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
let's
see here.
Now
yeah.
we're not gonna. Are we gonna reveal everything?
No, I don't want. No, because we got to save something for
something
our own channel.
Yeah. Okay.
But
We're just
gonna hold
teasing.
back.
Exclusive.
We're just teasing a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us one
so
exclusive.
the first thing was actually it's Rocket Sauce, our friend Ryan, from the Cartridge Club. He had arranged with a buddy of his to do to get an Atari 2600 bundle, and both Musty Hobbit, the famous also from the club, Musty Hobbit, and I would both express an interest, and so we kind of did a draft where we would we took the box of games and we each kind of went back and forth. We had each pulled like 5 or 6 out that we kind of wanted, that neither one of the others was interested in. And then we went back and forth. So we did that at MGC. And so that was a lot of fun, grabbing some titles from that Atari draft with Musty Hobbit. Of those, I think the one I'm most excited about are, I think it's called Basic Programming. It's Basic Programming on the Atari. Which I gotta see how this was done. I mean, it's like a programming cartridge for the Atari. So I don't know how they pulled that off. Yeah. So I'm definitely interested. I got to clean them up first, but I'm definitely interested in popping that one in. And
so I got to ask, is that considered rare? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that pop up anywhere.
Well, I've never seen it anywhere, and it's not worth a lot. I don't know how rare it is, but I've never seen it before, and so it was like the first one that drew my eye when I saw the picture of or the list of the games. And so I'm mostly curious from a technical standpoint how they made a programming. BASIC is an interpreted programming language. How they made this interpreted programming language on a 2600, which has so little memory. I can't believe they could do anything with it. But I'm curious about it from a technical standpoint. And I grabbed some shooters. I think Galaxian, and I've been reading this book about the 100 greatest games from 1977 to 87, and that book covers a lot of Atari games. So I grabbed some stuff out of there. And then so that was a lot of fun. And then, again, our friend Ryan Gorman was talking to me about Star Soldier. We were talking about Star Soldier, which is a shoot-'em-up series. And I've been on a big shoot-'em-up kick. And so he told me there's a Star Soldier game on the N64. And so I looked for it. I just added it to my list. And then somebody, I think Musty or Rocket or Sean or somebody found it there. And so I grabbed that. And then my lovely wife, we found a somewhat difficult shoot-'em-up to find on the Genesis called Raid and Trad. And initially, our primary negotiator,
yes,
your brother.
My brother is the negotiator for us when we go to these expos. He's very friendly. People are very talkative with him, and he strikes up a conversation, and then he asks for a really good deal, and they go, okay, sure.
Wow, that's a good guy to have around. I never have the confidence of asking for too much of a deal. So that's always good to have.
Yeah, that's why. That's why he does. Because he just cuts the price in half.
We just kind of go up to the tables and we say, okay, this is what we want, this is what we want, and then we walk away and let him wheel and deal.
So what happened this time?
So this one table wasn't having it. I don't know if he didn't like my brother or it was just too early in the day or what. But like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the show ended, I said, I'm going to go back and see if it's still there. And so I went back and I played it cool and I looked at it and there were two guys at the table and I had gone to a different guy than my brother did and asked them if they would take a certain amount. We asked for about $15 less than posted price. And he was like, well, let me see. And he had to call somebody or whatever. And then I said I had cash and he said yes.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So initially he was only going to do 5 for your brother and he took 15 off for you. So
nice.
So awesome. Excellent. Got that game. Really happy about that.
Or of attrition on that poor guy. You just waited him out.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm hoping. Well, we also heard that table had a big deal, like had sold several, like
$1,000 plus sale in the interim.
So maybe he was feeling a little bit more generous.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. The best haggle story that I have personally was an accident because I went up to a booth at MagFest and I swore that I only had $10. I swore I did. I thought I had, because I had a 20. I got a 20 out of the ATM and I was pretty sure I bought a shirt. I don't know. I thought I did. And so I'm talking to a guy about a game and he's selling it for $15. And I say, that's a bummer, man. I only have 10. And he mulls it over and he thinks about it and he's got his hands around his mouth. He's kind of thinking. And he's like, all right, man, I think I could probably do 10. And then I go in my wallet and all I have is a 20. So I have to hand him a 20. And he just gives me this sad, he's not happy with me look, but we've sort of agreed to the deal. And I felt so bad. I was like, you can keep some of it. He's like, no, just take your game. So I got caught in
that's a rough one.
Yeah, it was awkward. Yeah, so but it's a good gimmick if you're honest, if you're honest,
yeah. Well, I always feel guilty about negotiating down and then pulling a big wad of cash. Out of my okay, we got it down to $5. Okay, let me get these 20s out of the way. Good call though.
Yeah. So I wanted to, before we move on, I found it kind of interesting because, like Eric, you said that you picked up this programming cart for the 2600, right? So when I was probably 8, my grandparents got me an Atari XE. I don't hear many people talk about this console. It's pretty quiet. I don't think it had a massive impact, but it had this programming console built into it, and it came with this ring-bound book that was probably 3 inches thick, and it just had rows and rows and rows and rows of commands where you could make this thing do like the most rudimentary stuff, just like make sounds. or make a harmonizing sound. But like me and my dad, it had a keyboard, and me and my dad would just sit around this thing with this book and just type in rows and rows of code just to get to go beep. And we thought it was so cool. But I'm really interested in that cartridge you picked up. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm curious to give it a shot. I think the XE is a little more powerful, so it probably could do more stuff. But
it had a light gun with it. Which was pretty cool back in the day.
Is that the one with like the 1980s like pastel color buttons on it?
It is. Yep.
Yeah, I think I know the system you're talking about. But I think you're right. I don't think I didn't know anybody who had one, but that's
I had
cool.
one. Yeah. It's crazy that like I don't know, like I'm not hugely involved in the retro scene, and I don't do a lot of deep dives into like forums and videos and stuff, but I just never hear this one come up.
I mean, you told me about it, and I thought I was entrenched in the retro scene. It's like an Atari. What, dude? You didn't have that. There was the Jaguar. There was the 70. You're like, no. And I looked it up, and I'm like, it's the weirdest thing ever. Like you said, it has pastel buttons. It looks like every button represents a color of a Golden Girl.
Yeah.
And then the cartridge slot is at a weird angle. Like, I don't know what they were going for, but it looks cool. I mean, if I find one, I'd pick it up.
That was pretty neat. All
right, so does that do it for the pickups there in good old Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping next year I can go to that. If it wasn't for the Chicago trip coming up that everybody should go to, would have totally made it out to Milwaukee. But I can only make 2 Midwest trips a year. That's pretty far for us Virginia folk. I mean, you're Portland, so it's not. I mean, but still, it's a decent haul off the mountain with our buggies and horses.
Well, we have family in that area, right? So it's easy enough for us to fly in Chicago, see our folks or whatever, and that's what we did. We just drove up to. We just drove from Chicago to Milwaukee. And the Chicago thing coming up, again, we always have a trip in the summer for Chicago. So we'll just tie it in with that.
Perfect. All right.
So we'll be there.
Cool. All right, let's take this into games on the radar. Now, I looked at the schedule for April 23rd through May 6th, and I didn't see a lot of things that excited me. And, of course, we don't have to stick to that time frame. So what are some games coming out here in the future, whether they be near future or far future?
Say September.
Let's say September. What are some games coming out in September that you might be interested in?
No, okay, so I missed, I'll take the blame. I missed the April 23rd through May 6th part.
You must not have even read my notes.
No, I read it. I just thought you were way too far ahead, so I pulled it back a month. We don't have to talk about that.
No, it's fine because you guys are only on the show once every ever. So talk about the games you want to talk about. I actually wanted to talk about this one, so go ahead.
Let's talk about it. Go ahead, Melissa. Talk about that.
All right, so I'll go first. So I'm interested in the Spyro Reignited collection, and it's funny because I wouldn't say that I get very excited for games that are coming out. They're just few and far between. But I really like Spyro. We have it on the original PlayStation, and I've played it, and I never finished it. And so that's always kind of bugged me. So when I saw that this was coming out and how good it looked, I was like, we need to get this. And Eric thinks it's funny because he's like, okay, well, I need to get this one. I'm like, no, we just need to get Spyro. We don't need to get anything else. We just need to pre-order it and get it on day one.
Yeah, she wants to pre-order
it. And, then I can play it.
Right.
Yeah, whatever makes you happy. I mean, I thought it looked really good. I think the sprite, or not the sprite at this point, the character model for Spyro looks really, really good. Like, they've been sitting on that for a long time because that might have been the whole reason they even made the Reignited series, was that someone doodled that Spyro reimagination. They're like, we have to do the whole games now. That looks good. But yeah, were you interested at all in the Crash series that just re-released or remastered?
Well, I'm somewhat. Eric is interested in that, so that's why he's kind of like, if you get Spyro, I'm getting Crash. I was like, well, okay, I guess so. Crash is pretty good.
So there you go.
I'm trying to pull back or reduce the number of times I rebuy games, but these are far enough ago. Like when they make the PS3 version and then they make a remastered PS4, and I've done that, right? I have The Last of Us,
right.
But this one's old enough that I kind of want the Crash, and now that Spyro's coming out, I kind of tie them together, so I think we're going to have to get both. So yeah.
I'm interested in your opinion on that, the whole playing a remaster versus the original edition, because I sort of have that hang up too, where it's like, well, why buy this Reignited series when I have the original 3 I could just play through, and then I've played them in their purest form. But at the same time, new and fresh art and playing it while everyone's kind of excited about it is good too. Where do you stand on that, QDawg? Do you even like to even play the remasters?
I'm completely torn because I really have an appreciation for the originals, like you said. But when it comes down to it, if I have the remaster, especially if it's an HD, if it's a game that was originally standard def and is now HD, I will almost always play the remaster, just because I can't go back to the old graphics. Now, in this case, we've already played all 3 of the PlayStation 1 Spyro games. So this is definitely like a repurchase. It's not like we're even going to experiencing them for the first time. But Melissa will, because she never completed them. But
I agree.
I'm torn.
I think the PlayStation era is a great console for remasters, and that's sort of where I'm at, because they remade the Resident Evil for the GameCube, and it was so much better, so much more clarity, and I could see what was going on. The contrast was better, and that's why I'm hoping they remaster 2 as well, so that once again I can enjoy that. So. Yeah, I think that era, that N64 PS1 era, that's where I want remasters, and anything after that, I might go for the original.
Okay.
I think too, like sometimes with the remaster too, they put in some different options, like for saving or on the level and stuff too, which makes it a little bit easier, personally, for me to play. Yeah, right? Like I don't have to run through a large section. There'll be an extra save for me or whatever.
Right, that makes sense.
I think the biggest thing for me on those remasters is the updated control schemes, because we've gotten used to, or at least I have.
2 sticks and not a D-pad to move around,
2 sticks or the button layout or, extra bumpers or whatever. And you go back to the old, it's kind of like you trying to play Jet Force Gemini, It
was tough.
It's difficult to go back to those pre-dual stick controls for a shooter or an action game. And just having that same game move to that new control scheme is a big bonus for me.
True that. All right, so that sounds fun. Is there anything else on the QDawg horizon?
I don't know. I don't know if we want to. I put down Yakuza 2, Kiwami 2. That's way out there. And so I guess the only thing I'll say about it is I don't even know much about this series, but everybody's been talking about it, and so I kind of put it on my radar. I looked at the list. I guess I'm getting to a point now where I have so much in my backlog that. I don't know going forward. We're trying to cut back, really. And so there's a couple things, so that was the best I came up with, and I'm not even...
well, don't let it stretch you out, man. It's all good. Yeah. I'm actually curious about the Yakuza series, too, so if I can find a good starting point, because I think there's a bunch I didn't even know about, so...
Yeah. I would confer with Miles. He's a
Yakuza expert?
He's a Yakuza fan.
All right. Everybody should know to consult with the flock of nerds, Miles, to get your Yakuza info.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
I think he just picked up 6, right?
I think he did.
Was that it? Yeah.
6 just came out. I'm sure he did. Yeah, somebody did.
He made this commitment like I did not to buy games, and he's just snatching them up left and right.
Yeah. All right, Jake, what happened last time?
Let's check it out.
Previously on Polykill, Jake returns from a brief hiatus with a few beats, including Super Hot and Final Fight 2. Trav teamed up with Briz to finish Outlast 2, and he continues to plug away at Persona 5. Jake shares his thoughts on Sea of Thieves while putting time into PUBG and Fortnite. In tournament-style fashion, the hosts clean a few stragglers out of the backlog for the topic of discourse.
And we're back. Good episode last time, Jake. A little bit of PUBG, a little bit of Fortnite. It was good having you back.
Yeah, it felt good to get back in the old saddle again.
Then we kicked some games off the old backlog there, tournament style.
We did.
Got rid of them. Have you thought about them since?
Not in the slightest.
Good. That's good. That's good.
They're old news now.
Old news. All right. Well, let's move into games that we knocked off the backlog this time around. I'll go first. Why not?
Go for it.
Final Fight Double Fisting is written down here.
Right.
But it was obviously Final Fight Double Impact.
Double Fisting, I think, is the game.
No. That's not a game.
Double Fisting sounds like a better game to me.
It's definitely a game.
It sounds like assault.
Good Lord.
Depends on the level of consent.
Anyway, Jake, have you ever teamed up with the mayor to kick everyone's ass you find and to help him get his daughter back?
No, but I think that happened on an episode of Portlandia.
Okay. Well, it certainly happens in Final Fight.
Okay.
And so I didn't know what I was getting into with Final Fight Double Impact. It was a Game Pass download thing. Just saw it. I was like, I like Final Fight and Double Impact or fisting. In this case, sounds fun. Let's do that.
Twice the fisting.
Well, it turns out it features 2 games.
Okay.
And the other game isn't anywhere in the title. You can barely even see it on the box.
Wild.
But it's basically 2 arcade ports. One's Final Fight and one is Magic Sword. Magic Sword wasn't even a game I was familiar with.
Sure.
The QDawgs, have you heard of Magic Sword? It was evidently a arcade game. It was popular, evidently.
No.
Nope.
Okay,
Sorry.
there it is. All right. Well, it's not a bad time. I mean, it's arcade version, so there's infinite continues.
That's always helpful.
It's helpful, but it gets boring after a while.
Oh, for sure.
I like having the thread of game over.
See, I don't.
You don't like that?
No.
Well, I like having
I
that.
don't like game overs.
But it was nice to actually see through these games.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to.
Right. That's the point. If you want to get to the end of them and don't want to just feed the machine quarters all night, this is the way to do it.
Right. So to consider this a beat, I just played through both games and said, okay, now I've officially beat Final Fight Double Impact because I beat both games on the
There you go.
on the game. But use lots of continues, though.
Lots of continues.
Oh yeah,
Fair enough.
absolutely. My tip for that was just keep on playing it.
Keep on playing it. Don't stop believing.
You can't. I mean, the only way to basically the only way to not beat it is to put it down and go away.
Okay.
So, but yeah. All right. Who else beat something? Jake, did you?
I didn't, because life kind of sucks right now, and like the only time I've wanted to play a game is when I want to be kind of just hang out with some friends. So haven't done that either, but I managed to get a little Overwatch time in last night, and that's the first game I played, I guess, since Geddon, last weekend.
Wow. Well, way to bring us all down here.
Hey, yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I'm enjoying the PvE stuff in Overwatch. It's always a blast. Yes, they brought back the archive from last year, and they've got a new one for this year. And it's just fun to play through. It's just basically horde mode, but for Overwatch.
That seems mindless and fun.
It's there's some strategy to it, but you got to have a good team.
Okay. Well, for games that were completed, we're going to move on to the QDawg house. What's getting beat in the QDawg house?
Newt.
You want to go, Melissa?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm not beating anything.
Oh no.
There's one in
I
every
know.
household, it seems.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Understandable.
I'm kind of got a couple games that I'm playing that aren't quick to beat, so that's why. And plus, we've been getting ready for Midwest, so I haven't had much game time playing.
Everyone's got excuses, it seems.
Yep.
Well, and part okay.
And I'm taking over the TV.
Yeah, you're
is
taking
that
over
what
the
you're-
TV, so you
that's
can
what
tell
you're
them what you've been
saying?
beating.
Okay. Well, I don't know. This is old. I mean, these are the 2 most recent games I've completed, and I think it's been several weeks now. So the first one I'll mention is The Last of Us on PS4. That was a Cartridge Club game for
March.
Was it March?
Yeah.
That was a Cartridge Club game for March. I've been waiting to play that for that's been on the backlog since it came out. And so finally got through that. That was a lot of fun. I still have the DLC to play, but the main game I finished. The one, ironically, or surprisingly, not ironically, surprisingly perhaps, I'm more excited about is Adventure for the 2600.
Yeah, it is surprising.
This is so apparently it's been in the news or it's been on people's mind lately because of the movie Ready Player One. Now, I think I had commented to some people that I wanted to kind of give it a shot before that, or before I was aware that it was part of Ready Player One. And I already had the game, which, by the way, has shot way up in price. But Travis, you mentioned my rules before, and one of my rules for beating a game or completing a game is beating the game is to play it with the power on default settings. And it turns out that the power on default settings for Adventure are a very easy game mode. So I decided to sit down. I read the manual. I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do. Sat down. 5 minutes later, I was victorious.
5 minutes.
So I may go back. I may go back and play the harder modes, but I thought it was time to give Adventure a spin and see what it was like. And it was not unenjoyable, but a very simplistic game in the first with the first game mode.
Yeah, it doesn't quite live up to
really,
its name.
No, it was not. It was not really too adventurous. Most of the game consisted of navigating through a very simple maze, but
and actually, didn't our daughter then?
and then our daughter, who's
actually
6,
beat it as
copied
well
me. And, so that'll tell you how easy it is. I think the later game variations, as they're called, I think, on the Atari are much more complicated, much more difficult.
I've actually
I can check it off.
I was going to say, I've actually never beaten an Atari 2600 game. This sounds like my inroad to actually getting one under the belt. But it sounds like you recommend playing it on a little bit of a higher difficulty to get the full appreciation.
Well, yeah, and I would say Adventure, Superman, which apparently is also based on or made with the same game engine as Adventure, is another one that you could probably sit down and beat in under a half an hour or so. So yeah, I'd say one of those two. Yeah. If you're looking for a 2600 game, those two I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, I don't dabble in those often because we are sort of a podcast about beating games. I feel bad wasting my time on these high score type games, which there are a lot of on the Atari. You just kind of play until you get a high score and lose all your lives, and that's kind of it. There's really no end screen. So it's exciting to know that there's some games that I can actually beat.
Oh, yeah. And Haunted House. Haunted House is another one. I mean, these games have distinct endings. So yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Good to know. All right, that takes us into the hashtag Just Beat It section.
Yep.
People around the Twitter sphere take a picture or a screenshot of the game they beat, hashtag it with hashtag Just Beat It, do a little bit of a shamana, maybe moonwalk across their living room, and then tweet this out, and then we read it here and make fun of them a little bit. So I'll go first.
Okay.
Cliff Hikes at Cliff Hikes finished Final Fantasy 15 and hated it. He also beat Mega Man, and he finished Inside, which he loved because finishing Inside is pretty sweet.
It is.
It's pretty cool.
It's always best inside.
It's pretty good. Two thumbs up.
So much to do with that joke. All right. Matt Bandy at XMattBandyX, whose famed sex move requires a top turnbuckle, good aim, and lots of salve, finished Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, and Witch and Hero.
Well, that is quite a move.
Yeah.
Quite a move.
Wow.
Good lord.
Yeah. Good aim.
Great aim. Yeah, you gotta have good aim. I have never finished Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear, and I know it was the Cartridge Club Portable Game of the Month, I think. Right? It was.
It still is for April.
It still is. Right.
Yeah. So.
I was like, did I make that up? Okay, but yeah. But I had it. I remember the first time I'd seen that game. It was on a school bus, and I didn't really have my finger on the pulse. I didn't know if I knew what a Game Gear was, but I saw a kid playing a Game Boy with a colored screen, and I was like, dude, what is that? And that game has been on my mind for 25 years. You should play it. I should probably play it.
You should play it.
Yeah. I think about how much my mind was blown on the bus that day.
And get like a 24-pack of AA batteries.
Yeah, like triple D batteries. They're huge batteries.
Massive.
Yeah, it's like you have to have like 3 car batteries on your lap to play a Game Gear.
You have a backpack.
Yeah. You just walk around with a backpack. All right, who's next?
Josh Leslie at Frantic Society, who chugs lava lamps as a party trick and is this episode's supreme polykiller. Woo! Completed The Last of Us, Thomas Was Alone, Kingdom Hearts, and Oxenfree.
All right.
Wow.
Woo!
Good job.
What would happen if you chugged a lava lamp? It's just mineral oil, right? It wouldn't, just make you go to the bathroom, right? It wouldn't,
Right. I mean, it would make subsequent
There's
meals.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think there's like lava lamp challenges too.
Really?
You could just, sure.
I need to get on YouTube more.
You should do that. Yeah, just do that. Put some Tide
Yeah,
Pods
you
in it.
should do it and film it, Jerry.
Yeah, we should do a Just Beat It read off while we're taking hits off a lava lamp that's still plugged in. All right,
Sounds perfect.
Let's restock that log, Jake. Restocking the log. I've already talked about Earthbound.
Yeah, you did.
But that's what I'm restocking my log with. I guess the one reason that so I bought it for a completely different reason because I'm a collector and I guess I didn't feel poor enough, so I bought that game. But it is a classic, and it's obviously among the most beloved games for that system, and maybe
ever. Definitely ever.
In terms of RPGs, it has a weird history. Like it didn't sell well, and it's really not
It's the Boondock Saints of RPGs.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. It didn't sell well, and it's not really rare. It's just pricey to piss people off. Really, if you think about it. I don't really know how it works, but it made me mad.
Yeah, there's some guy on the internet that says, let's piss people off today, and just it's an up arrow, and the price goes up on it.
Yeah, the eBay dude.
Yeah.
There's like one guy, he just saw the prices.
It's the guy from MySpace who's looking over his shoulder at you.
Yeah. So I've dabbled with this game in the past, but my general rule is that any high dollar game that enters my collection must be played to completion.
Oh, there you
such
go.
as a Chrono Trigger or some others that I've played in the past. That
There you go.
If I feel guilt buying it because it costs so much,
You need to validate that purchase.
I better put the time in and beat it. So that's
So smart.
it's coming up on the backlog.
Yeah.
All right. What are you restocking log with there?
Well, as things go, it's still not buying games, but if you recall from that Target story last episode, the 3 games that we got as the 3 Musketeers, the 3 Amigos, Tres Hombres, however you want to look at us, Briz, you and I, we went to Target. I got Assassin's Creed Origins. He got Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and you got Far Cry 5.
I got the PS4 version.
You got the PS4 version of that. But interestingly enough, I ended up with Puffenstein 2, the new Cannabis.
Now that sounds, because it's 420.
It's 420.
It's coming up.
420 Blaze It.
That'd be a
There
good
you
game
go.
to play.
420 Blaze It.
Yeah, you could play Puffenstein 2 on 420.
Absolutely.
I think.
That's the plan. But anyway, Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus. That's the game that's added to my backlog. Just borrowing it from Brian, didn't purchase it. So I'm excited to play this. There was a lot of positive reception around that upon release. I know a lot of people that played it in the club, said it had some really great moments and some really standout stuff. And it's sort of like in my vein of a narrative story-based first-person shooter. I love alternate history. I loved the first Wolfenstein. I like the old blood. So I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, it's very high octane, and from all accounts, people are saying it's better than any of the the New Blood, the Old Order, whatever the New Order,
You
the
have
Old
those
Blood.
reversed, but we knew what you meant.
Yeah, people like it better than those, so I'm excited to hear what you think.
Same.
Wow.
All right, what about the QDawg house? What's getting back on the log?
Okay, so apparently what I'm putting back in the log is open beer.
Now that sounds like a good time. That sounds like a really good time.
Yeah, it's of course that refers to Odin Sphere. This was an old Cartridge Club game that I had to put aside, and I want to get back to from earlier this year. And then surprisingly, another one that I couldn't get into is Fart Cloud.
You couldn't get into that?
Couldn't get into Fart Cloud, but
They're hard to get out of. That's kind of strange.
yeah.
Especially like in a Walmart
yeah.
line, you know, it's just like
Yeah.
trapped with my buggy and my things. I can't just run away.
So yeah, I'm gonna pinch, hold my nose, and dive back into that one, which is of course Dark Cloud.
Right.
I'm playing the. I think it's only on PS2.
It is.
Yes.
Another old Cartridge Club game. I wanna go back and finish up, and then Blaster Master Zero, which is a Switch downloadable game I bought back when we first bought our Switch, and I played it a bunch when we were on a trip. Came home from the trip and never picked it up again.
So I have a question, because Jake, you've played a little bit of that, and
About halfway through it, yeah.
it sounds like QDawg is at least knows a bit about it if he's not already started it. Is it a reimagining of the first one, or is it supposed to be a sequel or a prequel? Like, I'm talking about the one that was on the NES.
That I don't know.
Nobody knows. Okay.
I think I have never played the one on the NES,
Okay.
but from what I can tell, it is not. It is a reimagining of the NES version.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good to know.
I think because the story seems very similar. I don't think they're making it. Anyway,
Okay.
I've been trying to compare it, but yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Great.
Got to get back to it.
Okay, and then I am playing, what I plan to play is The Legend of Zelda Handsome Sour Ass. Because
That's Travis in a nutshell.
I love me a handsome sour ass.
You know, that's
Yeah, I know it. Don't I know it?
yeah. I was gonna say, Mr. QDawg there sounds like he could
Yes.
potentially be a handsome sour ass on occasion if you crossed him or you beat a game by
you
cheating
don't
or something.
know the half of it.
I don't know what sour means there, but I'll take the other two. Okay.
Yeah, I played Wind Waker HD on the Wii U.
Right? Okay.
And I've talked to Curtis Friesel from the CC Portable about this, and he says that the this Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass is really good too. And so I kind of want to, I really liked that Wind Waker HD, and so I kind of want to sink my teeth into another Zelda. So,
Right on.
and this one's portable, so.
Yes.
There you go.
I actually played that one too, and I really liked it. The other one for the Nintendo DS is Spirit Tracks, and that one I couldn't hate more. So that's definitely
Okay.
the
Yeah.
better of the two to play. It's less annoying, but certainly still a good game.
Okay.
Cool.
Good to know.
All right. Speaking of other things that are not very annoying, we have a Caltech ad coming up. Take it away.
This episode is sponsored by Cowden Technologies, LLC. Cowtech focuses on product development in robotics, web apps, mobile apps, home automation, or some combination of the above. To learn more or to start a conversation about your future product or idea, send an email to info@cowden.tech. This is info@cowden.tech.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Cowden Tech. If you like what you're hearing so far, it's probably because the QDawgs are here, and unfortunately, they're not always here. But if you'd like more QDawgs, you can check them out on YouTube. Otherwise, you can check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Polykill Podcast. That is if you're still on Facebook. We know a lot of you left, but we're still there. CartridgeClub.org is where you can find us, all of our friends, the QDawgs, all the podcasts in the Cartridge Club, and so forth. Get on there and holler at us on the forum. And that's CartridgeClub.org. That's short for orgasm.
Orgasm.
Messed you up there, Jake. Polykill.com is where we keep all of our stuff about 2 weeks late. Polykillpodcast@gmail.com is where you can hit us up, and we'll respond within about 2 weeks. Spotify
Give or take.
updates instantly.
I didn't even know you responded.
Yeah, wait, did you send us something?
Maybe.
Spotify is where a lot of things are, including ourselves. We are also there.
A lot of music, and then us.
and an old podcast. Please rate us on iTunes or whatever servers you use. That's the most important thing you can take away from any podcast. Is please just go there and click a star.
Basically, yeah.
That's all you got to do. And then YouTube.com/podcast is where you can
Polykill Podcast.
basically watch this thing that you're listening to. Yeah. What did I say?
You said just /podcast.
Just, you have a better chance there of landing on a good podcast. But that's it. That's the self-plug. So please check us out on stuff.
That's it.
In the meantime, that takes us into the foreplay, the games we're grinding on, games that we're playing on. Jake, you've talked a little bit about Overwatch. A second ago, you talked a little bit about Overwatch.
Yeah.
But is that all you're working on?
I can't say I'm even working on Overwatch. It's just a friend of mine's like, hey, you want to play Overwatch? I'm like, yes, I'll play with you. Like, that's kind of how it went. I think that in terms of what I'm playing now, my brain level is just kind of low. I'm tired. Work is kind of a pain. Life is kind of stressful. Once again, I'm bringing this down.
You're bringing the podcast way down right now. Please.
But what I need is, when I'm playing a game, is I don't need a lot of upfront business. I don't want to just,
what does that mean? What does that mean?
That means I don't want to start a game and watch a 20-minute cinematic.
I see.
And go through a 4-hour tutorial.
That's what retro games are all about, baby. You just get in there and start jumping.
Right. But that's like my drug for that has been Fortnite.
Fair enough.
Because you can hop in and boom, you're in a match.
Or
and
fourth meal.
Yeah, fourth meal.
Yeah,
That's
which is the Taco Bell remedy.
Yes.
That's right.
That's what you need.
Absolutely.
That'll get your energy up.
That's what you need, Jake. You're so sad right now. If you had more fourth meal, you'd be all smiles right now. You'd also have had to take 2 bathroom breaks throughout this podcast. Correct. But you'd be in a
But it'd be worth it.
It'd be worth it.
It'd be so worth it.
You'd be in better spirits.
I'm not in bad spirits.
It sounds like bad spirits.
Well, I mean, there are bad spirits all around.
You have sour spirits.
Yes. Handsome sour spirits. But yeah, like that's it. Like I do plan to in the next few days to get cranking on the old Wolfenstein 2. But so far I've not.
Okay. Well, thanks for being sassy about it.
Yeah,
I've been playing Enema 5.
Yeah.
It's my 5th Enema. This time I went full coffee.
Full coffee.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Excites the bowel.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. No, Persona 5. And again, this is the 13th time it's been on the show. It's really hard to sabotage that word.
Right.
And we had not had Enema yet, so it was good to have that on the show.
There we are.
But I thought I had gotten really close to beating this game.
I remember this.
I'm 100 and some hours in. I'm like, let's wrap it up.
Right.
Okay. I'm still loving it. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, I'm ready to play the other 52 games I put on my backlog.
Since you started it.
Yeah, it's like let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
So I conferred with our friend Miles, who has beaten the game,
right.
And I said, "Hey, I just passed this part. I'm about done, right?" He laughed hysterically. And he said, "No, you got like 20 more hours."
Jeez.
I was like, "Yeah, I said that. I said, geez, oh Pete," and I do feel deflated. Like I've sort of been like, it kind of deflated me a little bit because I thought I was about done, and I had Far Cry on the horizon, and so I've not been putting as much time in Persona because I've been wanting to
get that Far Cry business.
play some Far Cry 5. So speaking of Far Cry 5, Jake, you remember that time you got abducted by a religious cult and was held captive in the woods of Montana for weeks on end?
It was Oklahoma, but yeah.
Oh, right, of course. Well, that's basically Far Cry.
Okay.
5. and it feels a lot like Far Cry. That's what I really like about it, is that it's still a Far Cry game.
Okay.
But it's zanier than I expected. Does that make sense? So when you saw the previews for this game, you saw the trailer, you saw like it panned in from the woods, this guy gets shot in the back, and it zooms in on a church, and this guy's getting his head rung into this church bell, and it seems dark and ominous, and like a reflection of modern U.S. political climate and the disparity between groups of people. It's not like that. Yeah. It's very much. It's more of a cartoony version of that, which is fine. I mean, that's more uplifting and fun, right? We should all
It's more escapist.
Certainly.
That's sort of the criticisms that I read. It was just like it seemed to be a little bit at odds with its marketing.
Yeah, and that's not to say it's a bad game.
Sure,
it's still polished, mechanically sound. I love the guns. I love the amount that's in the game. It's beautiful.
Ubi don't make no trash.
Ubi don't make no trash. Except for Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, that was that one.
That was garbage.
That was absolute shit.
That was hot garbage. But no, another thing that bothers me about the game, though, while we're talking about things that bother me.
Talk about it.
They found a way to put zombie enemies in the game.
Don't do that.
I'm tired of zombies.
I'm over it.
Make a smart AI that I have, don't just have the excuse of a zombie in a game just to give me something to headshot.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's the silly part of it. But the rest of it's good. Thematically, not as gritty, but still a fun, great game. I love it.
Giggity.
I thought everybody loved a zombie.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm over zombies for some reason. I don't know what it is. So many zombie games.
Well, I think, starting with... Boy, it's hard to say where it started, but I think Left 4 Dead started the big wave of that, and then like Call of Duty, World at War added in zombies mode. And then ever since then, like pretty much every other Call of Duty has a zombies mode. Left 4 Dead, freaking what's that Microsoft one where they got like a lot? Fuck, shit. What's the name of this game?
Days of something. Days End. Days of.
There was like Zombie U also on the Wii U.
Yeah. But what's the one?
The one's coming out.
It's made by Capcom. There's been 4 of them.
Rising. Dead Rising. Yeah, I got you.
Dead Rising. Yeah.
So there's zombies everywhere.
Yeah, and it's the thing
Walking
is
Dead.
Walking Dead is another one. There's just a lot of zombie themed games, and the thing is, I've not ever hated a zombie game I've played. I just I don't know, something different. It's
sort of like me with Marvel movies. I don't hate them. I'm just kind of like, all right, can I have something else, please?
Right, and I just don't think they fit this theme. We're out in the woods with cults. Why are there zombie people? This is a little strange.
Are they drinking like some Kool-Aid to make them crazy or something?
They are being poisoned.
Well,
I mean, yeah, but still. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid. They're being poisoned.
That's fine.
It's in the water system. So anyway, that's Far Cry 5 for me. I'll just keep going. Why not? I got a lot of energy right now.
Don't stop.
I got a lot of energy. Champions of Your Ass, Jake.
Champions of Your Ass?
Yes, Champions of Your Ass. I've been playing Champions of Your Ass with my wife. It's a game that we enjoy playing.
Boy.
Yes.
You should stream it.
I don't think it's allowed. I don't really have much of an update other than we thought we were about to finish it. We thought we were about to finish Champions of Your Ass. God, I wish we hadn't. Okay. So, other Snowblind games that we played. So we played the Baldur's Gate games, which they made Champions of Norath. And they're all about 15, 18 hours, 3 acts. Okay. And they feel very complete. When you're done, you're like, it's about right. But this one, we got to like Act 3, put about 15, 18 hours in. We're like, feels like it's time to wrap this up. Like, kind of over it right now.
Okay.
And looked it up, and we're in Act 3 of 5, and it's like a 30-hour game. Like, it's...
Okay, more than you were... Yeah.
And on top of that, it's already a more difficult game than the ones that we played before, so it's sort of taxing us a little bit. So we'll keep going, but there might be a chance we stall.
Fair enough.
Might be a chance that we stall on that.
Might go all Lolo 3 on it.
Might. And then lastly, Shining Force. That sounds like a game that the QDawg would have a history with.
Yeah. You'd think. I have it in my collection. I've never actually played through it though, and I'd like to get the sequel. But
so far I'm liking this one. It's the game that it's my podcast listening time because it's sort of a bit mindless. It's a tactical RPG, so you kind of got to know what you're doing, but there's not a lot of like text and reading or a lot of story to follow. So I just throw the podcast on my face and just go to town. There's really not much to say about it other than I'm still plugging away on it, but it is a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it, and hopefully I can get through and play this one and the second one and then all the other sequels because I've heard nothing but fantastic things about the whole series. So
very nice.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So who's up next? QDawg?
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Yeah, I'll just stick with the I guess Cartridge Club theme, and I'm playing the Cartridge Club Portable Game of the Month for April. That's Sonic the Hedgehog. We mentioned we mentioned earlier, but I don't actually have a working Game Gear, I don't think, anymore. I have like 4 of them, and not one of them works.
Wow.
Actually, I might have one, but I've decided to just go ahead and play this one on emulation.
That's
Wow.
Because
You were playing
I know.
emulation?
I'm going to play it on emulation. I'm going to
Stop the
use
presses.
save states, and unfortunately,
Wow.
I can't. I probably won't count it as a just beat it because that's cheating.
No, now I wouldn't.
But yeah,
you wouldn't believe how many save staters we get. You know, you can't weed
no,
them all.
I know. I have my own personal. But yeah, definitely playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and actually, I'm going back and forth between that and the Master System version, which are similar, but they made some changes to account for the smaller screen of the Game Gear. Smaller meaning the actual resolution is less. You can see less of the playfield than you can on the Master System.
Right. I remember that. So,
a little different.
And the good news is you don't have to play it on the Game Gear, so you don't get like Stage 5 carpal tunnel with holding a giant toaster in your hand. So
there is
that's
that.
good. Yeah.
There is that.
Yeah.
And we don't need batteries.
Yeah, we don't need those
That's
triple D batteries.
great.
Yeah, I don't even know where you buy those now. There's a Light Bulbs battery store down the street that I don't think they would even know what I was talking about.
Yeah. Gosh, went through so many batteries with that
That's
thing.
it for me. Yeah.
All right, so I've been playing a couple of different games. One is Flat Spoon 2.
Which is basically a spatula. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I call it a spatula. You call it a flat spoon. You know, tomato. So I've been trying to play through the single campaign.
Oh yeah.
I'm just not very good, so it takes me a little while.
Now this is Splatoon 2 for anybody that was confused by our jokes.
Oh, yeah.
But so there is a campaign, and you're saying the campaign's kind of tough. I mean, I've never played a Splatoon.
Well,
but
only for me.
well, no,
you
that can't
know,
be true.
Yes.
Is
totally
it
be
long?
true.
Is it? I mean, how does the campaign
No,
even
it's-
work? I don't even really understand how it would work.
There's like you go to one area and it'll have like I don't know 4 to 6 levels, and you got to go down into the sewer and go to the level and get the octopath and collect
The Octopath?
or something. I don't
Okay.
know. I just play
Because
one.
that's a different game.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So
Well, sounds fun.
I think only on like the second area, and I don't even know how many areas there are.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
Okay.
plus, like once you get to the area, you kind of got to like climb the different walls and go like jump on the different landings and to find, because I like to play them in order, right? So you'll have like right now I'm at like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right in this area, that's the levels, and so I want to play them in order. So I'm like, half the time it just takes me to figure out which section I want to go in. So then and you can only climb certain walls with your paint and whatever. So
The game just looks beautiful. I mean, I would just splash around all day. So sounds like you're getting your
Yeah.
fun out of it, though.
yeah. So it's fine, and it's a kid friendly game. So that's why it works.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, what else?
And then I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey, and that one I'm like addicted to.
Yeah,
I
that's
just want
the
to
one.
keep playing it, and you know you only need so many moons to move on to the next level. But I'm like, no, wait, I need to find more moons. No,
Yeah.
I need to keep going.
That's
I'm
how
not
the
moving on
game-
yet.
That's how the game goes. It's like, yeah, I've had plenty, but no, I'm gonna keep digging. Find the treasure tracker, and oh yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
So you're
and then
getting your
you
money's
buy- you
worth out
can
of that
put-
one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I kind of feel like I could probably finish it pretty quickly. You know, like there's like a certain way. You know, you only need so many moons, and you can do all the levels and then finish it. But and then you can go back. But I want to get as many as I can before I move on.
Fair enough. All right. Well, sounds like you got the Switch going there. That's good. I'm actually thinking about getting a Switch. I got some business trips coming up soon, and I could see myself needing to be occupied by some video games. So maybe I'll go in on the Switch. I don't know.
You do it.
It's either that or the
Do
Game
it.
Gear. Maybe I'll take the Game Gear with me.
I don't know.
Well, don't forget the cost of the batteries.
Right,
You know, and
Yeah.
that's for the weighing the pros and cons of each.
All right, so that takes us into the discussion. And so the way we're going to wrap up this episode is getting to know the QDawgs a little bit more. And that's not to say that people that listen to this show don't already know the QDawgs pretty well. I'm sure they do. We're kind of as Polykill, we're the new kids on the block, technically speaking, in terms of the Cartridge Club. So
Yeah.
we're still trying to get to know everybody a little bit. So that's why we wanted to have the QDawgs on.
Yeah, we're going to go full 60 minutes, or Diane Sawyer here. We're going to ask the tough questions.
We're going to ask the tough questions. So we've already asked why they decided to start a YouTube channel. Basically, they were inspired by some other YouTube channels they had seen. They were interested in gaming. They said, why not? And they do the In the QDawg House, which is sort of their unique spin, their unique video, which is really neat. Was there any hesitation in starting a YouTube channel? Because it really put you out there, you know? People, your employers might see it, your family might see it. I mean, was there any point where you were like, is this something that we really want to be known for, or anything like that?
Yeah, I was super nervous about it, and in fact, that's why we're doing them together, right?
Yeah,
is because I wasn't going to do it. It was I kind of wanted to do it, and I didn't want to do it alone. And I thought, well, maybe we'll get Melissa on. She came to PRGE, but at the time we started it, I was worried about people. You know, I didn't tell my friends or family or anything. You know, it was kind of. What do you call it? Security by obscurity. You know, I kind of figured, well, no one's really going to stumble across it, and so yeah, I mean, there was definitely some hesitation, and you can kind of see if you look at our initial videos, and everybody will say this, but we were kind of awkward and nervous, and stuff.
Not looking at the camera correctly,
and so you get a little older, you get a little wiser, maybe, or a little bit more indifferent. And now I really don't care. I think some of my coworkers know about it. Not to the point where they're coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I got a box load of really expensive old games I want to give you."
Darn.
But
we're hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping someday. But there's definitely some hesitation, and I think some people have kind of said, "Really, you're doing a YouTube channel on video games?" But I don't care anymore.
That's good.
It's whatever. It's fun. We do it for fun, and we do it, to the degree that it is fun, where it's not a job. It's not something that overtakes, the rest of our stuff. So
sure,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, your stuff is certainly. I mean, it's obviously family friendly. It's clean and enjoyable. I've had the same hesitation even with Polykill. We're a little more boisterous. We say things like handsome sour ass, and often worried is like, what if my employer found this? What if some of our sponsors found this and they were like, hey, isn't that the guy we gave a grant to do research for us, and he's wearing a backwards ball cap yelling handsome sour ass into a microphone? So, to your point, and I really like it, security by obscurity is what Jake and I are banking on. We don't want to get popular, so we can stay nice and secure down here. No, it's true. I just said that because we're not popular. It's sort of is a
justification.
That's the ego security.
You're popular with us.
Yeah. So I gotta know though, because I know you got young children. Do they care that Ma and Pa have a YouTube channel? Do they even understand that that's cool?
Well, I don't know if they think it's cool. They think other people on YouTube are cool, but I wouldn't say Mom and Dad are cool.
Yeah. Our kids are pretty. They're used to YouTube. They're really into Minecraft, so they watch a lot of Minecraft stuff. My eldest has asked about doing stuff on YouTube. So they definitely don't think it's a problem, and I think it's been a part of their lives. Like today we were talking about. They kind of understand that when we do this stuff, when we do YouTube or when we do streaming or when we do podcasts. They have to stay off the internet and they have to behave and stuff like that. So, sort of this is going to be a part of their lives. I think is the what am I trying to say? The social media or the YouTube and the streaming and all that kind of stuff is definitely something they're familiar with. And I don't think it necessarily makes them think we're less cool than we would be. I think they already kind of know that we're not that cool, but. They're pretty okay with it, except for the fact that it means they can't be on the internet at certain times, and they don't like that. But
well, I mean, it's cool that everything in this day and age is documented, but you're really documenting something for them that they might appreciate much later, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Let's hope.
Yeah, I think about the things I grew up with my parents, and like one of the things that we used to come together over was my dad had found these clever ways to steal HBO for us, and that really brought us together. But none of that's recorded. Sure. We used to sit around and watch whatever was on HBO, even if we didn't like it, because we stole it and we were going to watch it. And that was
HBO,
that. So those are some special things. So that's those are the things we grew up with. I wish we had grown up with YouTube. My parents have made YouTube channels, so I think it's cool that you're doing it, and I really do hope your kids enjoy it at some point, even if they mock you now. At what point did you guys unite with the Cartridge Club? Were you already sort of affiliated with some people when you started the YouTube channel, or did the YouTube channel bring you into that?
Oh, no, there was no affiliation.
We knew nobody.
We were our own. We had listened to now defunct podcast called Retro Rejects.
Okay, yeah.
And so the Cartridge Bros, P1 and P2, were on that podcast. And I had kind of heard a little bit about this Cartridge Club and the Cartridge Bros. And then when they were on it, Eric and I were talking and we're saying, they've got this club, they play games, it might be cool to kind of join and like get to know these people, and we might actually start playing more games instead of just collecting them. And so that's just kind of how it started. Like we kind of, we got on Twitter and we started talking with club members, and it just kind of, grew from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended up being a really great community, right? That we wanted to participate more and more in, and I think we've been really lucky, right? We've met some really great people. It started out just as anybody starts, that we kind of reached out to them and participated in the forums and on Twitter, and got to meet more and more people, and kind of snowballed from there. And it's been a really positive part of our lives for the last few years. So. And as at the QDawg house, it was something that we did to kind of participate more with the Cartridge Club. That really changed sort of the focus of our channel to just sort of putting stuff out there to more of an interaction, saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We talked about the content in the Cartridge Club we were, consuming and what we've been up to. And so it kind of changed the whole trajectory, and it's been a really, really great experience.
Yeah, it really is a great group of people. They're very supportive, maybe even to a fault. Sometimes you're like, come on, give me some real feedback, man. Come on, kick me a little bit. Tell me what you didn't like. But everybody's so awesome and so great, and it's what makes things like you went to the Midwest Gaming Classic, is that right? I always get the initials confused, but you got that, and then Chicago, and then there's the Barrie Game Exchange, and there's all these ways that you can meet up with these people. And while it's not a large group of people, it's some of the best people, and I think that's why the Cartridge Club is special. So
quality,
definitely
over quantity.
All right, well let's step back a little bit and talk about what got you into gaming in general, because you obviously came together. I don't know if you came together over gaming. That'd be fun if you did, but it's definitely something that you share, and you share the passion through not only just the YouTubes, but through playing the games together. So what are some of your earliest individual gaming memories?
You want to go?
Okay. As a kid, my dad would get us awesome presents. And so my dad bought us a ColecoVision, bought us an Atari 2600, and bought us an NES when I was younger.
Wow.
At the times when they came out. So, and I also had a cousin who would get all the best stuff too. She was an only child, so she had everything.
Oh man!
And so between her and us, we played video games as we grew up. So, and I have two younger siblings, so all three of us would play the games. My brother right now has our Atari that we had as a kid. Where ColecoVision, we don't know what happened to it, and then the NES.
I think he's got that.
I think he's got that too. Yeah. So
was your brother a smooth talker back then? He talked your dad into getting you all those sweet toys.
Well, I think it just kind of organically happened. So.
No.
All right, QDawg. What about you?
Yeah, well, my earliest memory is my folks bringing home one day a large box and a couple of smaller boxes, and we had no idea what they were. And it turns out they were the Atari 2600 and a couple of games that my mom actually bought kind of with my dad, but it was for him for his birthday to try to get him, this was up and coming, right? This new technology and these games and stuff. And so she was trying to maybe get him interested in hobby or something, because he didn't do much. And so, of course, she bought it, for him, and he expressed absolutely no interest in it. And after a little bit of time, the kids took over, and it became kind of our Atari, and was relegated to the basement television where we could play without disturbing too much of the house. But yeah, I grew up with the Atari. Bowling, I think, was the first game we tried, and then we got Space Invaders, and the first game I ever bought with my own money was Missile Command for the Atari 2600. So that was kind of my very younger days, what we played.
It seems like most people's first console memory starts out with their dad brought something home and they didn't know what it was. Because you have that. Yeah. I think Duke also sort of had that story in his recent
that's right.
Stuck in the 80s video. And then actually for Christmas one year I got the NES, and I remember unwrapping it and being like, they were kind of taken aback that I wasn't like excited, but I was like, I honestly don't know what it is. Like, I'm 5. I don't know. Like, what do you? I wasn't reading consumer magazines. I'm sorry, you're going to have to make this work before I get excited. So yeah, that happens a lot. But turns out it shaped us all into the people we are today.
Absolutely.
I seem to remember in our Collect Call interview almost a year ago now, you had mentioned something about, I don't know if you went to college near Melissa. I'm talking to you, Eric. I don't know if you went to college near Melissa or whatever, but at some point you said that maybe, I don't know if you said this, but I seem to remember you remember her playing Doom or something in college, and that's sort of right. How you got to know each other maybe, or you just knew that about her. I thought that was interesting. So can you speak to that a little bit? Because...
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we went to college at the same university, and video gaming isn't what isn't how we met or anything. We just met through friends. We lived in the same dorm, but I do recall, one of my earlier memories was, I had a PC, Windows PC or something, and DOS, and I had that in my dorm room, and I had Doom. We had acquired, if you will, a copy of Doom. It was sort of the big thing at the time, so I'll date myself a little bit there. Doom had come out, and I had a PC that could run it, and so I was playing it or whatever. Melissa was in the dorm room, and she said, "Yeah, I want to try this." And so she sat down and she played it, and I remember thinking, this is really cool. This girl was interested in sitting down and playing this, somewhat somewhat violent, a little bit scary. I remember she was a little nervous about the cyber demon or whatever the hell it was, the thing that shoots some missiles and clomps around. But I thought it was really cool that she was interested in sitting there and playing the game. So that was one of our, I think, it would be my earliest memory playing games together.
My mom had played the old Wolfenstein on the PC. So, and Doom is kind of similar, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, I kind of was like, oh, this is kind of like that, and it looked kind of cool, and so I was like, hey, can I play that? So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's basically wrapping up the show. Do you have anything, Jake?
No, I just enjoyed the the anecdotes and the stories, and always liked listen to people's perspective on things. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's that era, the being in college when around Doom came out, is an era that I'm slightly envious of for a couple reasons. One, some of the best music dropped around that time too. Like, that's when like Nirvana was hot, and there was like AC/DC's Razor Edge had just dropped, and like Aerosmith's Get a Grip, and like the music I was really into was getting hot around then. It's like transitioning from hair metal to grunge, and then there's like Doom's dropping, Wolfenstein's hot. Schindler's List came out around then. Use Your Illusion too. I mean, what a time to be. I'm jealous of you guys. You got to spend all that cool time together. I had to grow up in
the year,
like the turn of the century. Wasn't that fun?
It's gross.
It was pretty gross, for being honest.
Sorry.
But no, it's okay.
It was great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on our show. We really appreciate it. It upped the quality a little bit, I think. That's good.
Definitely classed it up.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. This is great.
This is fun. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. Yes. And let's do it again sometime. What do you guys think?
Oh, love
anytime.
To. Yep. Awesome. You can ask us anytime.
I don't know. Maybe
we'll throw the kids upstairs and we'll be ready.
Yep. They're used to it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.